Hello and welcome back to Bed Chats. I don't really know if that's what I'm calling this yet, but it is currently like 7:30 p.m. and I'm feeling in a chatty mood. I have a lot to say apparently. So much so that I have picked up journaling recently, and journaling has never worked for me before, so that's new. But yeah, I had to bring out the light and the computer again because we might lose light in here, guys, and I am trying to be better about this recording thing because we're learning. We're learning as we go. We've come prepared. Your girl is learning. We're learning how to do this thing or not do this thing. Either way, we're learning, and it's been a journey. It's been fun. The last has it been a week now? 2 weeks. This will be my third video, maybe. Anyways, welcome back to Bed Chats. It's not really called that. We're chatting in my bed, so it seems fitting. But yeah, welcome back to Allie Nicole talks about life and things in her bed because it's her safest place to do that, and this is where she feels most comfortable. And we do be getting vulnerable sometimes in these chats, so being in my safest place is best for you and me to share. So, welcome back to my bedroom. And we've got new sheets since the last time you visited. So, growth, which is fitting for what we are going to be talking about today. Oh, what's been on my mind lately, which is a lot of things, usually in and out throughout the day. But most recently, I have been honing in on vanity and change within vanity and what that looks like and what that feels like. And I know that might sound random and like weird. It's like, wow, vanity. But yeah, it's like really not talked about a lot, or maybe it's just not in my sector of talked about a lot, which is odd because as someone who's been in the beauty industry for a large majority of time of her life, not just participated in the industry as like a consumer, but also very much in the industry. It's my career. It is heavily centered on vanity. I mean, and I never really looked at that as like a bad thing. To be honest, I never really thought about it like ever. I wasn't really conscious of it, I guess. Like it's something that like I knew existed, but like yeah, didn't really think about. And for some reason, it's been on my mind a lot lately. So I just want to open up a conversation and have a chat with you guys about vanity and not just vanity, also attachments to things that we are not guaranteed in life and how to potentially feel better about that because I most recently have started to feel a little better about, having attachments to things that I'm not guaranteed in this life and a lot of self reflection in that. Still working on that as everyone is in this life. I guess I really wanted to make this mainly because I would like to, if I were to look back on this, say future me in 5 years, if I'm watching this, hey girl, I hope we're doing good and I hope you're proud of me. But, anyways, yeah, if I'm watching this 5 years from now, I really would like to, I guess, document this era of my life and how much clarity I feel now. I don't know if it is because I am in now a new member of the 30s club, which I welcomed. Like each year I get older, I'm like, hell yeah, level up. Like that's the way I see it. It's just like leveling up. I don't really see it as like getting old. It's like in a bad way. Just like how I'm not really sure if I see vanity as a bad thing. And you're like just like keep an open mind and hear me out here because I feel like as a woman who does live obviously in this society that we all live in, and I'm not naive to the ever growing beauty standards and all that consumes in that, but I also have a foothold in an industry that I love, I'm very proud to be in, and it is heavily centered in vanity and the looks and the outer image and altering that to best fit the person. And a large majority of my experience in the beauty industry has been extremely positive, which is, I don't know if that's rare actually, because I can't speak for everybody, but I will say that almost all of my experience in the beauty industry was positive. And although there are circumstances that do stick out that I will forever remember for the rest of my life, the trauma, but you know, we don't get out of this life unscathed, okay? Nobody does, but I'm lucky to say that yeah, it's mostly been positive, and I guess that's why I've never really considered vanity to be a bad thing, because as I saw it, like I was, it was a good thing that people were focused on the betterment of themselves and self improvement on the even on the outside. And as surface level as that may seem, it can be a really big confidence booster. It can be a really big mood booster. And I mean, for me to get up in the morning and even when I don't feel like it, sometimes get dressed and pick out an outfit, and not only just like pick out the outfit, but like curate the outfit to what I want to feel that day or who I want to be that day, or whatever. It doesn't always look like who I want to be that day, doesn't always look like who I am in that moment when I'm picking that outfit. It's planned for the future me. And even though I might not understand that as I'm grabbing the pieces, it all kind of makes sense in the end. And to rope that all in, it kind of all makes sense to me as a whole, like change and the attachment to that, and or not attachment to that, and how vanity kind of like fits into all of that on a deeper level. If you're sticking with me here, we're gonna get a little deeper. Not too deep. I fear deep conversations are definitely on the horizon for us, but we I'm not trying to go too deep on you guys just yet. But personally, I love change. I have curated it in my life. Not only just curated it, I sought it out. Like I want change. I love change. I never really thought I had an issue with change, because it's been something that I've been like, yeah, I want that. How can I'm bored with this, or I don't want to do this anymore, or whatever it is. And so I decide, yeah, I'm gonna cut my hair and take out my extensions, even though that was like a huge part of my identity for the past 10 years. And I really, to be honest with you guys, didn't think that I had that big of an attachment to that image of myself, but I did, and I had to self reflect on that recently. And what I realized is that that may have not been all personal towards me or my own personal thoughts, because I may have been allowing the thoughts of others who weren't living my life to interfere with that. And I fear that, thankfully, I didn't allow for those thoughts to go unchecked for very long, because here we are having this conversation. Self reflection is a great asset, but very hard to approach sometimes, especially when you're in like the thick of it. It can be really hard to take on life and all that it's got planned for you, and also self reflect on something that seems trivial like vanity. But it is important, because when these things go unchecked, although vanity can be a confidence booster and a mood booster, unchecked, it can turn into narcissism. And that can lead to deep insecurities, and that can also lead to your village completely leaving you and deserting you, because who wants to be around that type of mentality? Yeah, so it's self-reflection is a humbling experience, and I do feel like that is the balance here. To be yeah, be humble, like remain humble and be humble in this journey of change, because yeah, your outer image is going to change a lot. Like it's if I'm listening to this future me, hey, again, girl, I'm going to call you out a lot in this episode because I'm really having to push myself to make this because I don't feel like resolute in my outlook on where I land on is vanity good or bad yet. And so I feel kind of like an imposter even having this conversation with you guys right now because I also struggle with this. So this is an open level playing field here. This is not me up here on my stage with my remote microphone telling you guys how to live your life or do you and how to feel. But hopefully this offers you some clarity because I have felt a little bit of that recently. And to rope it back into the beginning, I've started journaling. And I just bring out my computer and take notes of things that are on my mind in that moment. And it really feels really nice to just like pour it out. I was in a lot of therapy throughout my life, and I've had a lot of great counselors and been honored to be in a lot of rooms with people who have given me the time and space and grace and learning lessons. Very grateful for that. But what they have all kind of laid on the table as options over the years is journaling. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I do not journal well. Like I'm an internal processor, and sometimes that feels like enough. Like I already have internally processed this enough that I don't really need to like take the time to write it down. Like it just kind of seems trivial to me. But lately, like it's been really releasing. That's not the right word. Revealing is not the right word either. It just yeah, it feels like a release. It feels like it does make me feel seen, heard, and valued as a person, but it also just makes me have a lot of clarity. So like maybe try it out, but also like no pressure because it didn't work for me for like the large majority of my life. And who's to say it actually sticks? But I'm glad I have it because I do lose my train of thought, which is why I have my computer. And also, this conversation is important to me because I don't want to be attached to an image of myself so much so that I am unwilling to grow from that era or that identity of that person because each era of my life I have looked different, I have walked differently, maybe even talked differently, who knows, like based on my circumstances of life. Like I have grown as an individual, as I'm sure you have as well, and you should be proud of that, for the better or for the worse. Like change is inevitable here, guys. That is the whole conversation I'm trying to have with myself. But when I realized that I had such an attachment to the identity of myself based in such a trivial thing like having long pink hair, because that's who people knew me as on the internet, but I was a whole ass person before and will be after that as well, because what we're talking about here is not having attachments on things we're not guaranteed. And so, yeah, that's having an online platform is definitely not guaranteed, as well as having, hair. Like, to be real honest and blunt, like, being in the beauty industry has shown me that your looks are absolutely going to change throughout the years, and how you handle that change and that growth and the acceptance of that dictates a lot, as especially as a woman. I mean, I am speaking to you as a woman, so that is basically the only experience and viewpoint that I have to speak to you on. But as a woman, I can definitely say that the beauty standards that we have, whether you adhere to them or not, they are there. And I do feel like we are growing as a society, and I'm really proud of that, to remain hopeful in that. And I'm also proud that through therapy and self-reflection, I have grown a lot in that. Am I where I want to be in terms of accepting change and accepting leveling up, getting older. I I hope that I can at least say that I'm proud of myself in 5 years. The acceptance of something that is not guaranteed is 100% your looks. I mean, that is going to change, but also digging deeper into that, the fear of maybe the acceptance of that or what that's going to look like, or if I change, will I like that next version of me, or will others accept that version of me? Like, to give you an example, most recently off the top of my head, because again, if I'm listening to this, I would really like to just point this out. When I made the decision to take out my extensions and cut my hair, that I really didn't realize that I was attached to, and soon realized that I actually wasn't attached to it. It was the opinions of mostly strangers on the internet, who I guess I really wasn't prepared for it, which I guess nobody really ever is prepared for the wrath of the diabolical side of the internet. But all that to say, I really wasn't prepared for the amount of people that were. I'm not trying to speak for other people here because I can't speak for strangers on the internet, but I was shocked to see the side of the internet that took it as a personal attack, the action of someone that they don't know cutting their own hair that is not their hair. And that's where really where it got brought up for me, I guess, this whole topic of like, are we fearful of change? Like, I feel like we are. Not to lump us all together, you might not be, and I'm proud of you for that, but I feel like with each era of me that I've kind of grown into, whether I knew that the growth was happening or not, because it always is, whether you know it or not, with each change comes a little razzle dazzle of fear for me. Like I said, like, will I like this version of me? Will others accept this version of me? And it was a really hard thing for me to bear, that more than I was prepared for, that others couldn't accept that version of me. And I get that this, again, is trivial. I'm using this as an example. Like, what I'm talking about here is a surface level thing, essentially, or what it is looked at usually as a surface level thing, but it's actually kind of a deep thing, vanity. And was I taking part in an unhealthy amount of vanity to take what someone else commented that was a very personal thing to them? They are fearful of whatever they're fearful of, which is why they're projecting that onto me, a person that they don't know, a person that doesn't affect them, a person that they will likely never meet, like strangers on the internet. Like, so it's obviously a projection of their fear of whatever is lying with them. So it is a surface level thing, but it's also a deeper thing. It's obviously, I mean, it made me feel something to question my choice that I very was resolute with and was ready for, and like I said, curated in my life. Yeah, I didn't like that feeling, because as someone who's usually like pretty like solid in my choices, and who's someone who lived her entire 20s without like a lot of eyes on me, like a social media platform, which I'm very grateful for. I I can say that I made a lot of choices in my life that I'm very resolute with. Like, I look back and I'm like, no regrets. None. I Those all got me to where I'm at now. Like, the choice to put me online for better or worse, it's all transpired to these moments, and I am grateful to be here with you guys right now and having this conversation. Like, I could think of nothing else I would rather be doing than being, what time is it now? 7:40ish on a, what is today? Anyways, yeah, there's nothing I'd rather be doing than hanging with you guys and just chatting about life. But more importantly, documenting this topic so that I may go back and listen to it when I feel doubtful of my own vanity in taking things personally that aren't meant to be attached to me because, baby, I got my own attachments to think about over here. I really, I can't, I don't have the energy to take on additional attachments. Okay. So is vanity good or bad? I, to level with you, I really feel like I'm somewhere still in the middle of that. I feel like it is a balance. I feel like for someone to take pride in the way that they look and the way that they appear and the way that their outer image is, I think that that is a great asset to have. Like I said, a confidence booster, a mood booster. And, life is hard. So sometimes that is very rewarding. And honestly, it feels great. I'm not going to lie to you. Just the same as like taking pride in your accomplishments and being proud of yourself and being your own cheerleader. I think that that's a great trait to have. I mean, you're not always going to have people, especially if you are a high achiever in life, you are not always going to have people clapping for you at every little thing you do, and you do have to do that for yourself because it matters. Like the little things matter, and if you're not celebrating them, nobody else is really going to think they're, worthy of celebrating either. I mean, that's not true. That people still know the worthiness of celebrating celebrations, but if you're a high achiever and you're constantly like leveling up in life and doing things for yourself that you're proud of, you should be proud of those things. And I don't think that that's vain, which is connected, but to me different than vanity. I still don't look at vanity as a bad thing. Like I said, it's a balance, but to be vain is really an entirely different subject. Big yikes. That trait is, I really wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, to be honest, because the insecurities and the doubt and the projection, are you really living for you if your main focus in this life is your appearance and your image and your possessions? And I feel like the community that I'm speaking to, you've been a part of this journey with me. I feel like you guys are a lot like me. I mean, I relate to you guys a lot in the conversations that we have, and I feel like you get the difference between being vain and vanity as a whole. I don't feel like I have to go that deep into that, but we all kind of know the difference. But I just think that it's necessary to have this conversation as being a woman who has looked at this very differently in the past and actually hasn't looked at this at all sometimes, and it has gone unchecked. And if I allow for it to go unchecked, the doubt that enters my mind with the decisions that I decide to make for future me and the attachment in it's just unhealthy for me to have. It's a waste of my energy to consider. I'm worth more than that, and so are you. Period. What I would like to say to future me is that I hope you found peace in and almost like a joy in the fear of change, because I do know that I am slowly trying to embrace that myself, even though I do, like I said, curate it in my life. There still comes with a little bit of razzle dazzle of fear that approaches with each stepping stone or each level in my life. And I do hope that future me is proud of each step that I've taken. I can say that, like I said, no regrets. I'm proud of each step that I've taken in my life to get me to this point. And that has only been because I have at least accepted change and at least curated it a little bit in my life and welcomed it and embraced it. Because without that, I think that if I had allowed fear to win in a lot of these situations, I wouldn't have grown into be this person. And even with the flaws, I'm glad I'm me, and I'm grateful for each outer layer era I have been in, she's taken care of me each lifetime. I hope she still does the same, but in the future, I hope we're doing well, and I hope I'm not as attached to the change of my outer image and the beauty standards within all of that. I hope we've kind of found peace in that journey, because it is a journey, and I don't know if it ever ends, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't promise that. But what I can say is that the clarity that comes along the way feels really nice. And so does journaling and getting your thoughts down. And even if it's not about vanity, and even if you've watched this and you know, feel like you really don't relate to this at all, that's cool too. But also, I do feel like we all have something that just maybe even keeps us up at night, as surface level as that sounds. And left unchecked, that could result in insecurities that really aren't on us to bear. Like, and also the outside opinion of others. Let's remember that is just a projection of their own personal fears and anxieties and whatever that they're going to have to eventually work through, because they're going to be faced with change one day in their life as well. Because, like I said, we all don't get out of this life unscathed, and we are all living life for the first time. Amen. What I do want to leave you with, though, is have a little more grace on yourself when you feel like you're attached to something that you're not guaranteed in this life, because it is justified to be excited and to be happy for and with what you've worked for, and wanting to hold on to that, and taking pride in that, and being proud in leveling up, and being proud in your appearance. I don't want to leave you with, you know, this being like a negative episode or whatever. I do feel like I said, vanity can be a good thing, and it motivates a lot of people. It's motivated me a lot, and it's also, left unchecked, unhealthy for me. The trauma. But yeah, you cannot be attached to what you're not guaranteed in this life, because your image will change a lot over the years, as it should. And with that, good or bad, if mostly good, if you're not too hard on yourself, as you shouldn't be, because this life is hard enough. And I really want to leave you with this, because it's been on my mind a lot lately as well. It kind of helps me when the brain gets to buzzing. My good friend Bailey Lavender, who has just helped me a lot on this journey, but also just in general, she just sometimes has a lot of pockets of wisdom. She dropped this into my universe, and I swiftly picked it up, and now it's on repeat in my brain, so I want to leave it with you. You can either have control or you can have growth. And I want to add on to that change is necessary for said growth. If you've made it this far, I really truly appreciate you listening to me discuss and bear my vulnerabilities and emotions to you during this. I hope maybe it's offered you a little bit of clarity, or made you maybe think about something that you hadn't really thought about before, and maybe that was intriguing to you. But either way, I'm just grateful that you're here and you've spent this time with me, and I love these. Let's do more of these, and let's chat soon. I do love you so much. I am about to go to bed because I fear it's like 8 p.m. at this point. So, yeah. I hope you have an amazing evening. Love you so much. Bye. Bye. I have this fear that, like, the mic is just gonna give out, and all of this is just gonna be in vain. Even though it does feel really nice to just, like, talk and feel like someone is listening, even if it's just you and your phone, it does feel kind of rewarding in a way.